Welcome all teams to the event safety and information video for this coming weekend's Max Adventure Race at Lake Macquarie. Really looking forward to welcoming you all along for a terrific day of running, riding and kayaking in a beautiful location. Before we get started, I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional custodians upon whose land we will be meeting and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. The main thing I want to cover in this video is of course safety. You will all be travelling in teams of 2 on Saturday. That means if you get into any difficulty out on course, your first point of call is going to be your teammate. So render any assistance to your teammate if they come into any difficulty as required. If you do need further assistance, you can either grab another team that's passing along the course and ask them to pass on your information to the next event marshal or the next transition area where they can radio in and we can initiate the appropriate first aid response. Or there are some emergency contact numbers listed on your course description, so give them a call and we'll be able to assist you further. An important aspect of safety for this event is that at different times you will either be running alongside or at times crossing roads during the event. Please remember that those roads are not closed to traffic and they will have cars travelling along them. You are to give way to the cars are not to give way to you. There will be signs out alerting the drivers of the event happening, but the priority rests with you to make sure you act safely around those cars. So stop, give way if there's a car travelling along if you need to cross. When travelling alongside roads, stay on the verge or on the footpath wherever one is available. And if you are on the road, ride or run in single file as you generally would if riding on a road in everyday life. While we're also watching out for cars, when we're out on the course, we're also going to be watching out for other users. There will be other people out on course riding, running, walking, things like that. We do not have exclusive use of the national park. They have as much right to be there as you do. So please give them the utmost courtesy and allow them to enjoy their day as you are enjoying yours. There could be some four-wheel drives or trail bike riders out, especially south of Caves Beach. It is a popular location for those four-wheel drivers and trail bike riders to get into. They're not meant to be there, and the amount of people that are getting in there is decreasing over time, but there is a possibility they could be in there. You'll probably hear them before you see them. So if you are in those fire trails and you start to hear a four-wheel drive or a trail bike coming your way, make sure you, once again, stick to the left, stay in single file so that you give them plenty of space. What will generally happen if they're in there and they see that there's an event going on and a lot of people in the area, they'll probably vacate and go to another location, but just be wary that they can be in there. Another important safety thing I want to talk about is that fact that you need to ride to your ability. There are a variety of mountain bike trails you will be using. Some of them can be quite overgrown, some of them can be quite eroded in parts. So there could be times where you need to stop, get off and walk, or at least slow down, assess the trail before tackling the next little obstacle that you come across. Please do that as opposed to riding something that's outside your ability and having an accident. A lot better to slow down, take those extra few seconds to properly assess or skirt around the obstacle rather than ending up over the handlebars or something along those lines. So making sure you ride to your ability. The weather on Saturday is meant to be quite warm. It's going to be quite warm all week. Bit cooler on Saturday, but temperatures are forecast to push up into the 30s with a chance of a late storm. That means it's probably going to be quite humid as well, which means it'll feel even hotter than it is. So make sure you carry plenty of water. There's a minimum of 2 litres per person, especially for some teams that are going to be out there for longer. You will need more than that. Remember, there's no water out on course, there's no aid stations or things like that. You need to be self-sufficient and carry plenty of water with you. So make sure you're fully stocked up when you're on the start line on Saturday. For the novice and classic course teams that have left their bikes at bike drops, extra bottles on the bikes, things like that, so you're going to have plenty of water when you are out on course. Also, considering the conditions, make sure you have plenty of sunscreen and make sure you have applied it. And AeroGuard would also be a good idea. There were a good number of mosquitoes out on course when we were course marking. I'll switch to talking about the kayaking now. When you are kayaking, you must be wearing a PFD, a life jacket. They are provided, they will be there available at the kayak launch point for you to put on before you get out on the water. There's a variety of sizes. Listen to the directions of the event marshals at that location who will point you towards the appropriate size. There are some smaller kids size ones for you younger team members as well. Also, when on the kayaks, you must be wearing enclosed shoes. So please make sure you have shoes on at all times when in the kayaks. The last thing you want to do is to stop, to get out and get a checkpoint and you don't have your shoes with you and you step on an oyster and cut your foot open. That is not pretty. So you must be wearing shoes when in the kayaks. Remember, for the kayaks as well, you need to carry them to and from the water's edge. Do not drag them along the land. So you need to pick them up, carry them into the water. Your feet are going to get wet when you're in the kayak anyway. So best to carry it in to around knee deep, put the kayak down, hop in, and away you go. And then equally when you come back in. If you do drag them, all you're going to do is put a hole in the bottom of the kayak. Kayak's going to slowly fill with water and your paddle is going to be very slow and sluggish. When you come along to registration, please check your team number before coming along to registration. That'll be sent out in the last minute info email that you would have received this video with. So check your team number. Come along the registration. The bags will all be laid out with your team number listed. You simply collect your bag and away you go. If you have a missing team member that hasn't completed the registration, you have a waiver to sign, something like that, there'll be a bit of paper or note attached to your bag. So the best thing to do is to complete that, quickly sign the waiver or whatever you need to do before leaving the registration area. The marshals at registration will help point that out to you. In your bag will be your map, most importantly, your course description, nearly as important, welcome letter, timing chip, and a wristband for attaching your timing chip to your wrist. Have a quick read of the welcome letter. That will help explain what's going to happen on the day and what to expect. And then you need to start planning where you're going to go on the course using the map in conjunction with the course description. Common mistake teams make is just looking at the map and ignoring the course description. There's plenty of information included on the course description which will help the map make sense. The controls on course are small electronic controls. You'll see there's a hole in the electronic control. Your timing chip will fit into that hole. So you punch your timing chip into the control. The control will beep and flash. If you see it beep but don't hear it flash, or the other way around, that's fine as long as you either see it or hear it, you've collected that control. The control location will be marked with a orange and white orienteering flag. So it might be that the control is around the base of a tree. There'll be an orange and white orienteering flag on that tree to indicate that that's the one you're looking for. Look on the ground and you'll find that control. There'll be an example of a control and an orienteering flag at the start line, so you're able to visualize those before going out on course. There'll also be some purple and white orienteering flags on the course. For you classic and novice course teams, you need to ignore them because they are there for the kids course. For you kids course teams, you need to ignore the orange and white ones because you're looking for the purple and white flags. I'll run through that further for you novice course teams in your briefing, and for you kids course teams in your briefing. For the classic course teams, you have been warned. So going back there to the novice course briefing, once the classic course teams have started, we'll run a novice course tips and tricks session at the start line. So come along to that, check for the exact time in the event program with your map, with your course description I'll run through the course, make sure you know what you're looking for, make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you know which trails to take, everything like that to help you not get geographically challenged when you're out on course. And then once the novice course teams start, we'll do the same for the kids course teams. So make sure the kids course teams all gather up at the start line nice and early so I can run through the course, explain what you're looking for, reinforce some safety points for your kids course teams, and just help you have the best day possible. That's all from me for today. Best of luck with your preparation for the last couple of days before the big day on Saturday, and we look forward to welcoming you all Saturday morning on the shores of beautiful Lake Macquarie. Thanks very much.